Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So, Bethesda have just announced the next update coming to the game, and this is something that was hinted at back at the back end of last year, but is looking to be a much larger feature than I had anticipated, which is cool. So, to get to it, it's fishing. So this set of PTS patch notes is really quite extensive, so I'm going to break this into two halves. I'm going to focus on the new content patch, the fishing update, first in this video, and then tomorrow we'll go over the sort of more technical changes to the game, because there is a long list of balance changes and gameplay changes and tweaks and adjustments, like they've done in the last couple of updates. But again, it's substantial, and we're probably better off moving that into another one, and then at least we're not here like an hour and a half in one sitting or something. So, fishing, yeah. This is something that gets requested a lot in quite a lot of games, and is also included in quite a lot in general as well, and I have really weird mixed feelings about this. Doesn't really appeal to me personally. On the other hand, it looks like Bethesda are trying to make this way more interesting than a lot of games have done. It also looks to be more expansive and a starting point upon which they can build for subsequent editions and, expand the feature as time goes on. And in particular, it looks like it'll be a different style of activity to engage in amongst everything else we do in Fallout 76. So, broadly speaking, in 76 we've got shooting or hitting things, so the combat-based activities. We've got camp building, and that's really about it. Pretty much everything so far falls into those two categories. And then we will now have a third major thing to do, which is go out and fish, which should have a completely different vibe to either of the other two. So yeah, that's what I'm getting out there. I think that'll be interesting. So yeah, let's actually have a look at what they've got for us, shall we? Inside the Vault, Fishing in Appalachia Public Test Server. Here we go. So, the caption is this: anywhere you can swim, you can fish. So grab a spot near your local watering hole, get your fishing rods ready, there's lots of fresh game to catch. So yeah, we'll come back to that stuff in just a moment. But I want to take a look first at this. So there will be camp rewards available, amongst other things, in the course of this update, so that's cool. This guy looks interesting. As we'll find out in a minute, I suspect he is the Fisherman, possibly somebody else, but that person is claimed to not actually speak our language, and that outfit, firstly, is really cool. I like it a lot. Definitely a really cool post-apocalyptic raggediness. But if we have a look at the top of his head and his, face and the spines on his arms, apart from Mass Effect Alien vibes that I'm getting here a little bit, I'm guessing he's some kind of sentient Myler king? Because he looks like that, kinda. That would be cool, weird, and unique. And if that is the case, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it. So, yeah, there's also a whole bunch of other things that look like they'll be cool camp additions here. So, over on the right, we've got this bottle with an octopus in it. Very Cthulhu in a bottle thing. That eyeball is, yeah, that's a whole thing. And a few other bits and pieces possibly around the back that kind of actually remind me a bit of the Children of Atom. And some sort of hanging fish and stuff. So, hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff around there. Yeah, this guy looks interesting. So, let's have a look at the text. Welcome back. Cool activities are in full swing, but we hope you're really, oh dear, terrible pun, excited to get a look at what the team has coming in the next major update to Fallout 76. PTS kicking off for our fishing patch. So as an FYI, obviously no dates here, wouldn't really expect it, but in all likelihood, first week of June is when they will target. It's the usual time for the summer update. So, casting off. Welcome to Fisherman's Rest, a new location in the Maya where you'll begin your fishing adventures. Here you will meet a trio of characters: Captain Raymond Clark, a mysterious new figure who goes by the name of the Fisherman, and Linda Lee, the Fisherman's pet hermit crab. Okay. Good luck talking to the Fisherman, though. It doesn't seem like they speak our language. Oh, and don't be alarmed if you find out Linda Lee is a giant hermit crab who has taken up home in Captain Clark's old fishing boat. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Captain Clark, we don't really get a lot in here about who he is and what he does. So, okay, I guess we'll find out more when we jump into it. The Fisherman seems like he'll be tied into the dailies and stuff, maybe a trader or something like that. And his pet hermit crab, who is set up in the old fishing boat belonging to Captain Clark. So I guess they come as a group. Interesting. Something seems off about this location. Anyway, I'm curious to see what's going on then. During the casting off quest line, you'll receive your first fishing rod, allowing you to walk on over to the nearest body of water and start fishing. When trying to decide where you can fish, remember the mantra, if I can swim, I can fish. So, we'll do a quest called Casting Off. That's going to probably be a reasonably short lead-in quest, these usually are, that will kick off the content and get you your first fishing rod. Emphasis on first there, which is interesting. And you can fish in any body of water you can swim in. So basically not small streams, it'll need to be lakes and ponds and stuff that have a certain amount of size and depth to them. My hunch on this might have to do with animation. Maybe they're actually putting fishes in there and they'll need space to move around. Maybe. Or maybe they just want to kind of have a manageable number of locations to work with in order to apply this feature to. That could also be a reason as well, and that chops out some of the smaller little bodies of water. But yeah, this means larger locations, which is fair enough. There are also some of these in every region as well, which is going to be emphasised in just a moment. So, do note the fishing rod will not appear in your Pip-Boy menu as it's not an item you need to equip, so you won't be able to find it in your Pip-Boy. Or when you are nearby and looking at a body of water, the fish command will appear on your screen, so an interactive pop-up, and a fishing rod will show up in your weapons workbench, if you are at one, so that you can modify it. So yeah, you will have to tweak and adjust it to improve its capabilities, and you do that at a weapons workbench. Other than that, it's not going to be taking up space in your inventory, which is not such a bad thing, really. So, to start off the new Casting Off questline, head into the Maya region and you'll receive a mysterious signal on your Pip-Boy. So as usual, a radio signal sending you in a particular direction. You can also start the questline by reading the sign in front of Vault 76, if you prefer. That's fair enough. Presumably an advert saying go this way. Fisherman's Rest found in this area, I guess. But we'll see. So, upgrading your fishing rod. You can find the pieces you need to upgrade your fishing rod by completing new fishing challenges and daily fishing quests. So we know there's going to be daily quests and challenges related to it as well. I guess these will not function as daily challenges so much. There may well be some of those going into rotation as well. It would make sense. But I'm assuming that means that there'll be more like the other non-daily challenges, the one-offs, that can get you a number of rewards as well. Which is interesting because I don't think we've had any major additions to that list in a while, so that's cool. We'll have to check it out in more detail though. These will give you rod styles, bobbers, and linear reels to improve your fishing experience and help you catch the mysterious creatures living in the irradiated waters of the wasteland. Okay, so rod styles, bobbers, and reels in order to upgrade your fishing rod. You'd think hooks might be on there as well, maybe, but apparently not. That's fine, that's cool. It's important to note that some fish will be near impossible to catch until you have upgraded your fishing rod, so get out there and complete those fishing challenges. So after complete challenges, work through it, get the upgrades, and get to the best tier of fishing rod if you want the rarest kinds of fish. So, catching fish, bait and weather both will affect this, which is interesting. You can have the best looking fishing rod in Appalachia, but it won't help you catch fish if you're not using bait. Very true. There are 3 types of bait to gather, and each one increases your chances of enticing increasingly rare fish to bite down on your hook. So, common bait gives you a chance to catch generic fish, scrappable junk, so we're going to be pulling boots out of the water, I guess, and common regional fish. So there you go, different fish are native to different regions, which is interesting. Purchasable from the Fisherman and Captain Raymond Clark in Fisherman's Rest, so you can just buy common bait and get the basic stuff. Okay. You also have a chance at receiving this bait after completing the daily fishing quest. Okay, simple enough. Improved bait. This bait gives you a chance to catch uncommon fish. While it is not purchasable from any vendor, you can trade improved bait with other players. Okay, so stick it in your vendor and stuff and buy it from people if they've got an excess, I guess. You can also get more from the daily fishing quest, from public events, and finding it in lootable containers around the world. So coolers and refrigerators specifically. Interesting. You have to keep your eyes out for it, I suppose. Get looting. But the top tier is Superb Bait. This is earnable as rewards in the upcoming season, and the bait gives you the best chance to catch a very rare fish. Now, technically, from the look of this, I imagine the other types of bait will give you a chance to catch the rare fish, but the odds will be lower. I'm not sure I like this being on the scoreboard, though, because it implies limited availability unless you chase to the end of the scoreboard and maybe it'll be in the repeatable stuff at the end. That limitation is a bit iffy, and I really hope it doesn't end up being Fallout First stuff, because that would really suck. But we'll see what they do there. I'm a little concerned potentially about this. Let's not assume anything until I know what they've done. PTS players, keep an eye on the Discord server to be notified when this bait will enter the PTS locker. So it's basically a locker that you can pull out various resources you need for testing on the public test server. Obviously it doesn't exist in the live game, but it's just so we can test things with greater facility, really. So, weather also has an influence on your odds of catching specific types of fish. Naturally occurring weather, as well as modified weather from your weather control station in your camp, will affect the type of fish that bite down on your hook. So yeah, you can set up your camp near a body of water, I guess, and use the weather control machine to affect which type of fish you might get, which is cool. You can build like fishing camps, that'll be fun and thematic, and I'll probably do that for the fun of it. On the other hand, does kind of limit you a bit unless you want to build specific fishing camps, one in each region, which I suppose you could do. But we do have a limited number of camp slots available, though there have been hints that Bethesda might consider adding more in the future, so we'll see whether or not that pans out. But if you're a regular camp builder like me, maybe not quite the ideal way of doing it. You might just have to kind of make use of the weather when it comes up, I guess. Clear weather is best suited for catching common fish that you can find anywhere. So these are fish that will pop up in any region, and when it's nice and clear and sunny, that's the way to go. This is usually the weather I use in my camps because it's just better for touring your camp. You can see what you've built way more easily that way. Makes for clearer footage. Rainy weather has an increased chance of catching region-specific fish, as well as the axolotls, which will be an interesting reward we'll talk about in just a second. And red storm and nuke weather, weather caused by nukes and red storms, increase the chance of catching glowing fish, and we'll leave it to you to figure out which combination of bait and weather will give you the highest chance of helping you find the fish you want. So chances are you're going to want the glowing fish, as they are probably common or region-specific fish, but glowing, I would assume. The axolotls are separate, so probably not those. And they have the best attributes to them. You can do this with your camp, get the radstorm and nuke weather in a camp using the weather machines. But if this adds a new dimension to why you might want to use nukes, that's kind of fun, because right now the only real reason is to trigger region bosses, world bosses. Other than that, maybe if you want to harvest nuked flora, you might want to nuke a specific location, but that's about it. Adding in the opportunity to go fishing in a radstorm is an interesting choice, and yeah, definitely leans into ghouls as well. And I wonder if that means you can fish in power armor. You might have to wear maybe a hazmat suit if you can't. That would probably be quite cool. I'd like to see that actually. No fishing in power armor, wear a hazmat suit. Then it makes it kind of more useful to players. Obviously, if you are a ghoul, you just don't worry about it, and you're good to go. But yeah, that's cool. So glowing fish obviously are the top tier, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Right then, so what are we going to do with these fish when we catch them? So, food and more adventures. Now that you've captured a few fish, what do you do with them? Of course, you can eat them directly out of your inventory to restore some hunger and health, unless you're a ghoul. The larger the fish, the more you regain. You can also turn fish into fish bits. When you obtain a fish by fishing or trading with other players, interesting, you can trade your fish, that's cool. You immediately learn the recipe to convert that fish into fish bits at a cooking station. So it's kind of a non-consideration thing. When you've got the fish, you can turn it into fish bits. Okay, that should be automatic. Fish bits can restore small amounts of hunger and health on their own, but it's not the best way to utilize this new material. When at a cooking station, you'll notice a new food recipe. A grilled fish recipe becomes available after completing the new fishing quest. So presumably that's the casting off, I'm guessing. But it may be another one, we'll have to see. When you've eaten it, it provides you with an effect that reduces the time to hook a fish for 20 minutes. Okay, makes you fishing faster. Okay. Which is perfect because you're about to do a whole lot of fishing. Completing fishing daily quests will give you a chance to earn other food recipes that utilize fish bits such as fish and potatoes and fish chowder. There is one other location you can use fish bits. Remember Linda Lee? That will be the hermit crab. If you feed Linda Lee fish bits, she'll give you a random legendary item. Just don't ask where it came from. Okay, so yeah, that's probably not going to be a very efficient way to get legendary gear and stuff, so I probably wouldn't bother, but it's a fun touch. So yeah, basically turn it into fish-based meals, including grilled fish that will allow you to catch more fish more quickly. I think that's probably going to be the play. So, with the addition of fishing, there's a whole lot of aquatic life for you to find out in the wild of Appalachia. Common fish can be found across the map, but there are a ton of region-specific fish to discover along with their variants, which are the glowing ones. There are also 12 adorable axolotls to find. One of these glorious amphibians will be available for you to catch every month throughout the year. Not a vast amount of information on the doing of that. I'm guessing it's just a random thing, and there'll be one species available per month across the year. Okay. In case you are unfamiliar with axolotls, here's what they look like. Or one example of what they look like. There are variations. In the real world, I should add. But that gives a lot of potential for reskinning them for subsequent months and things on down the line. Lastly, there are local legends. These are fish that you'll be bragging about catching, and that's all we'll say for now. Interesting. So, presumably region-specific, particularly iconic fish that you can catch. That's cool. So, PTS players, axolotls will be put on an hourly rotation so you can have the chance to catch them all. We'll share more details in the PTS section of the Bethesda Game Studios Discord. Okay, so yeah, if you're on the test server, you can check out the axolotls sooner, hopefully that way, and test the feature, rather than, having to put it on the test server for 12 months or something. So, flaunting the catch, what are you going to do? Well, this is far more interesting use for me as a camp builder of the fishing mechanics, and that is that completing fishing challenges and dailies will reward you with new camp items, along with upgrades for your fishing rod. That's cool. So, one of these items is a curved fish display, so you can now show off that rare local legend or axolotl you were able to catch. I'm hoping this basically involves fish tanks that you can put in your camp and display things. Although, I hope they do versions of it that are kind of workable sizes, because it could easily end up with a massive fish tank to fit a lot of stuff in. But having smaller ones that you can fit a handful of fish in and put several of them around, that sort of thing would be good as well, just for sort of more variety of camps if you don't want to have a massive room to display them in. Who knows? Maybe you will just want to add an aquarium room to your camp. So, PTS only. Fallout First status is granted to all players on the PTS. Now, this troubles me a little bit because they don't normally do this, and I'm concerned. If we have a look at the baits, Superb Bait is only available from Seasons. I'm concerned that therefore this will only be available to Fallout First players, and that is dangerous close to pay to win and would be a very, very bad decision. I would not be happy about that, and in fact I will make a lot of noise about it if that's the way they go. I hope not. But this does make it seem slightly more possible. We'll have to have a look on the test server and see how that pans out. So, there we go. That is the fishing part of the update. There's a whole massive section on other changes that we'll have a look at in a subsequent video, because this is quite long enough really for one topic. But yeah, fishing, more involved than many games make it from the look of things, and it looks like there'll be stuff to display in our camp, as well as new food recipes and new rewards available, and hopefully some open-endedness to expand on down the line as well, rather than just being a case of walk up to a body of water with a rod in hand and stick your rod in it. Yeah, this looks okay and looks like it's got potential to be built upon, so I'm okay with that, I think. But we'll have to test it on the PTS, hopefully before too long, possibly over the weekend, and I'll give you my initial thoughts as a follow-up video, because I suspect this download is going to take a while, as the PTS patch is quite large. So, yeah. I hope you guys found this interesting and informative, and yeah, I hope you're looking forward to the fishing. I think it'll provide a new thing to be doing with a different tone to it, and a new style of gameplay for at least part of our Appalachian journeys, so that should be fun. If you guys found this useful and informative, and we want to see a follow-up video on the rest of the changes, which are a bit more technical stuff, perks and combat changes and things like that, then subsequent video coming on that one. Make sure you turn on that notification bell, and if you just want to read it yourself, obviously I'll link the patch notes down below as well. While you're down there though, social media links if you want to check it out, and channel memberships on the blue join button if you want to support the channel. I really, really appreciate that. Massively helps out. And if you get a chance, join us for live streams. We are, of course, playing Fallout 76 as well as Avowed, Atomfall at the minute, and probably some other cool stuff if it's coming on down the pipeline. So yeah, lots to be doing on that front. So I hope you'll join us for that. For now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.